Hamilton from Audible Elegance here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are located on Montgomery Road, a couple doors north of the original Montgomery Inn and across the street from Montgomery Cyclery. Tonight, I want to talk about what I call running changes. And this is certainly more common in English products than American, but it happens in American products as well. When we think of American products and these running changes, probably one of the most obvious ones comes out of Richard Vandersteen and the Model 2. And the Model 2 has been around a very, very long time. And over this time, Richard has continued to add improvements to the design, tweaks if you want to call them that. So the original Model 2 really has very little to do with current production. And the reason I bring this up is we tried to sell the Vandersteen products and we like them. They're a worthy product for sure. But what we kept running into is we would present the current version of the product, and then people would haul off and go find a used pair anywhere. I mean, there's all sorts of places you get used gear, thinking that they had purchased what they heard in the store. And that simply was not true. And so while the Model 2 is a long-term designation, they've done other things to it. And of course, there was the CE, but there's continuous tweaks by Richard to his speakers. And I'm glad he does it. He's looking to improve a design that he feels worthy. This is also common in another speaker brand which we do represent, Totem Acoustics. We're starting to run into essentially the same sort of problem that many dealers who sell Vandersteen do with a recognized model name or number, but there are continuous little improvements or tweaks to it. So while you may recognize the name and the name may go back 5, 6, 7, or 8 years, to assume that that older speaker is the same as what you hear currently in any store, well, I wouldn't be so sure about that. We had a recent incident where we had an older floor model with a woofer that failed, probably because of a demonstration. We requested a replacement woofer, and we were advised, well, if you want to be current with what we're doing now, you'll need to get 2 woofers, because the woofer we're now using is not what we used in an earlier production of the unit. And so we're going to get 2 woofers to bring in, up to current spec. We certainly don't want mismatched drivers. Nobody would want that, to make it current. This also happens quite often, actually, in English products. I refer to the English manufacturers and hobbyists as really happy tweakers. They love continuing to find ways of improving what they have, and it's impressive. We experienced that several times with Name Audio, where there was just these little refinements, but there was a definite sonic reason why they did it. And so be really careful if you're going to a dealer and he does the effort, or she does all the effort to present a current production to you, and then you think, well, I'm going to save some money, I'm going to go out and buy a used set. Then you think you're getting the exact same thing that you were presented with. And I'll tell you right now, that's kind of a risk. You may have something that's similar, sure. Is it the same? Possibly not. So there's a reason that some of the older products of a similar number or name, may be seemingly, a bargain. Well, they're a bargain for that old design and that old model is the only way of putting it. It's not a bargain against, new current product. So really think about that and do your research on it. If you're inclined to, haul off and do, used equipment. Similarly, as I've said in other videos, if that's your inclination, please be respectful of the dealer and not waste their time doing presentations. We had one, we spent 3 different salesmen in about 6.5 hours, and they bought used. Well, that's an investment that I've made in my employees, to pay them, investment in the facilities, investment in the new product, and essentially I get nothing out of it, and the salesman likewise gets disappointed. I put all this effort in. What did I do wrong? So, if your inclination is to buy used gear, well, go to the place that's selling the used gear and listen to them. Don't waste a dealer who's trying to make a living. Do that to them. As I said before, that's stealing. You're stealing time, and it's just not the way you should do things to people. And the only way I could put an equivalent to it is your boss comes to you and wants you to set up a project, and so you get this project set up, and it's going to take hours, and you're going to make so much pay, and he comes in and goes, well, I found this guy who will do it for half the price, so I'm really sorry. We don't need you anymore. You can go home, and we'll have this guy do it for half the cost. That's essentially what you're doing when you do that, to an audio dealer, and actually to other dealers as well. So please be aware that there are running changes in products, electronics, as well as speakers. And if you want what you're hearing, then buy what you're hearing. That's the only way I can put it.